Hey guys, Ash here. Just a heads up, this video will contain spoilers for Power Rangers Dino Fury Season 1, so if you don't want to get spoiled because you're keeping up with the US airings and not the international spoilers, this video definitely will contain spoilers, so click off this video while you can if you don't want to get spoiled. But with that said, on with the video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So, Power Rangers Dino Fury Episode 19. I feel like it's in Power Rangers' contract to have a Freaky Friday episode every season or every other season when the show is on the air, because we got one last year with Beast Morphers Season 2 when Nate and Steel switched bodies, and in this one we got another body switch episode where a bunch of Rangers switched bodies. So I wonder how many body switch episodes Power Rangers gets in total. I think there's more of them, but I'm probably forgetting most of them. So Power Rangers Dino Fury Episode 19. This episode felt very fillery, but it was still entertaining, but the payoff with this somewhat, I don't want to call it a complete filler episode because it felt fillery, but there was payoff at the end of it. But the payoff is going to lead into episode 20, which is something that I'm looking forward to. So, Power Rangers Dino Fury Episode 19. This episode is called The Makeover, and the synopsis for this episode goes like this. The villains use a Spore X beast with body-swapping powers to chase pirate treasure, which interferes with Amelia's attempt to make over Pop Pop for a date. Now, the whole Freaky Friday Spore X monster, that was a lot of fun. They didn't go too overboard crazy with it like most times. It was pretty much straightforward, where the episode mostly focused on the date with Pop Pop, where it didn't get too wacky and sidetrackedy goofy. That's not even a word, but you know what I'm saying. It didn't get too sidetracked with comedy and focused on the main plot, which was Amelia helping out Pop Pop. So I really liked that it didn't mostly focus on too many jokes, it got straight to the point. But the whole monster looking for a pirate treasure, their goals were pretty much scrapped within the first act once the Rangers switched bodies. So that was basically their goal, to switch bodies with the Rangers to make them useless, where they weren't able to figure out how to morph because they were in different bodies. They couldn't access the morphin grids. But I really liked how they figured it out at the end of the episode, where they had to switch keys with each other. So Zato and Amelia switched bodies, so Zato used Amelia's key and vice versa and stuff like that. So I really like that concept, how they figured out how to morph in the switched bodies. Now, once again, this is a body swapping episode with the Rangers switching bodies, so we have the characters ADR'd over the other characters, and it worked really well this time. Even with Zato's line dubbed over Amelia, it still worked really well, and the lip flaps were really on point in this episode, so I enjoyed that quite a fair bit, and it didn't seem too weird and forced with the characters switching bodies. I mean, still a little bit weird and goofy. You've got Zato's voice coming out of Amelia. I kind of wish we could have had the Rangers doing the best impressions of the other characters. That would have been a lot of fun, but this here works well as well, and I did enjoy sort of the different lip-synced moments here and there. Like the lip-sync, if you pay attention, it's really well and really on point, so props to the editing over there. So the whole Pop Pop date with the woman, that is the main focus of the episode. And although it's the main focus of the episode, apart from the body swapping stuff, the whole resolve for the lesson that Amelia learns is pretty much solved within like the second act of the episode, where Zato says to Amelia, saying, why does Pop Pop need to dress fancy or wear fancy clothes and stuff like that? All he needs to do is be himself. And that's pretty much the lesson within the episode. And it does get resolved fairly quickly, where Pop Pop does suit up on the date, they go on the date with the woman. I gotta say, when they first were introduced to each other, and someone nearly trips over the barnyard light and it nearly lands on her head, that is a broadcast nightmare. You gotta duct tape that stuff down, you gotta gaffer those cords down so people don't trip over them. But I know it's a fictional show, and it was mostly there to set up the premise for those two characters dating, but I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there as someone who studied broadcast. So, the date between the characters, it wasn't that bad, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't that wacky and goofy. I mean, there was a joke I thought they were going to set up where Amelia / Zato, or Amelia gives Pop Pop a bunch of cologne or a bottle of cologne, and Pop Pop sort of drowns himself in it, and it says, may attract bees. And I'm like, oh no, we're gonna have like a big scene of CGI bees just swarming Pop Pop while they're on the date and it's going to ruin it. But no, there's like one bee that comes in and it sort of messes up the communication between Amelia sort of using a headset so she can guide Pop Pop on the date. And that's pretty much all we see of it, which is really interesting that they went in that direction with the joke. Well, with the cologne, I thought they were setting up an entire punchline with it when they said may attract bees. So I guess I didn't see the joke coming a mile away and they went in a different direction, but Pop Pop doesn't wear the suit in the end. He wears his work clothes, and the museum lady, I think her name was Beatrice, and Pop Pop, they bond and they become best friends, and they have a lot in common, it turns out, because they're sort of mechanics, or they worked a lot in a shop, so they kind of start bonding over that. So that was a nice, wholesome moment between the characters. So like I said earlier in the review, the Rangers figure out all they need to do is swap Ranger keys and then they're able to morph. So they fight the monster gets big, they summon the Megazord, and the monster's destroyed at the end of the episode. But the big thing is the pirate, Purple Beard, that was brought up at the start of the episode. Apparently he had treasure hidden, and Pop Pop puts together a map at the start of the episode, and the map shows that there's treasure hidden at Dinohenge, and I nearly said Destination Dinohenge from the first episode, but there's treasure hidden at Dinohenge. So the episode ends with the Rangers doing a X-ray scan, and they find out that there's keys buried under Dinohenge, leading up to whatever's going to happen in the next episode. And it was kind of a weird ending. I mean, it didn't end on a dramatic note. It was like, hey, there's keys underground, yahoo! And that's where the episode ends. There was no, like, dramatic sting or some da-da-da-da-da-da. It was pretty much, hey, there's keys underground, and that's where the episode ends. So it sort of leads seamlessly into the next episode. So I do wonder what they're going to be setting up with tomorrow's episode leading into episode 20, the penultimate episode. So that's pretty much my review / breakdown / mini podcast / discussion of Power Rangers Dino Fury episode 19. Overall, this episode wasn't bad. It seemed more of a cool-down episode for things to come later down the line, because episode 20 and 21, they're the penultimate and season finale of Power Rangers Dino Fury, if you don't include the Christmas episode. But this episode was more of a cool-down episode, or more of a buffer episode, but also leading into bigger things to come for the next episode. So I do like this little silly, wacky, goofy episode we had, but it also had serious stuff at the end that's leading into the penultimate episode and the season finale moving forward. So I really did like this buffer episode we had. But anyway, guys, what did you think of Power Rangers Dino Fury episode 19? Tell me in the comment section down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your opinions. With that said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Special thanks to all the YouTube members and Patreon supporters such as Andrew McCoyle and Swagger4. Thank you so much for your support and keeping the lights on this channel. If you want to get your name shouted out like these guys over here and special perks on the channel, become a member or join the Patreon so you can have special perks on the channel, such as your name in the credits of every video or shout outs. So with that said, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care, bye.